Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I wanted to make a little video about boundaries, what they mean, what they are, and how to practice accurate boundaries, which I'll explain in a minute, and improve your boundary maintenance. And we'll do some tapping around boundaries too. So, the first thing I want to say is when people say boundaries, they often are not using the word correctly. So, this came up yesterday with a client, and so I'm like, I'm going to Google it. Like, what is the definition of boundaries? So, boundaries, this is fascinating, are the limits and rules we set for ourselves within relationships. Isn't that interesting? Because the way most people use the term is about the other person's behavior or the other person's words. A very common thing I hear from people is when they're talking to someone they're having issues with is, I'm not going to let you speak to me that way. That's not a boundary. You may wish for them to speak differently, but boundaries are what we control. Boundaries are the limits and rules we set for ourselves. So a boundary must be something that you can make happen. You cannot make someone speak to you a certain way. You can't make someone treat you a certain way. So, to quote Byron Katie, what other people do is none of your business. And I love that. I love Byron Katie. So, she talks about there are three businesses in the world. There's my business, there's your business, and there's God's business. So, my business is anything I have direct control over. So, my business, your business, is your personal actions, your personal words, your behavior, your choices, how you choose to order your life. That's all your business. The other person's business is everything they're in control of. Their choices, their life, their thoughts, their feelings. That's their business. And then she says God's business, meaning anything out of everybody's control. The weather, stuff like that. Accidents, things that really aren't anybody's direct control. And here's where we get in trouble. We get in trouble when we try to manage other people's business. When we get into other people's lives, other people's choices, when we're trying to save them, rescue them, help them, especially if they don't want help. Now, some people are like, but they have to want help. No, they don't. No, they don't. And it's difficult when we're talking about loved ones, family, people close to us. It can be very difficult not to jump right in and not to try to help them and save them. The problem with doing that, even if you're very well intentioned, even if you have the best, you want the best for them, like it's not malicious, but here's the problem: you don't control them. You can't control them. And even if you're doing good, relatively good things, if they're not going to maintain it, then it's not going to work long term. So let's say somebody's got financial problems, and they're not managing their money right. They're making poor choices, etc. You can jump in there and you could catch up all their bills, and you could put them on a budget, and you could teach them how to better manage their money and how to make better spending decisions. You could do that. However, if they're not willing or able to continue to do the work necessary to maintain the budget, the spending plan, it's not going to work. They're going to be in the same problem a few weeks from now that they are in now. You actually just prolong the issue if they're not willing to do something. Now it's different if somebody is in a bad situation and saying, I need help, I want to change this, I want to do differently, that's cool. Okay, if you've got the resources and want to jump in and help them out and help them get a reset, fine. But then they need to take it over. Again, back to boundaries. Boundaries are the limits and rules we set for ourselves within relationships. So sometimes people have to fall down and feel the impact of their choices. And this isn't cruelty. This is just life. It's like normal consequences. So when you're having a hard time staying out of somebody's business, inevitably it's about us. Like if we're trying to jump in there, it's like, oh my gosh, I've got to save them, I've got to make this better. We need to look at ourselves. What is going on with us that we feel we need to do this? And then just identify what is happening for you, the feelings, the emotions, and then you can tap on it. So, and usually it's anxiety based. Usually it's, catastrophic thinking, oh, if I don't help this person, like, they're going to die, or like they're going to be homeless, or something terrible is going to happen. Now, there's a small possibility that something terrible could happen. There's always a possibility. But most of the time it doesn't. And so we need to calm our emotion down. So even though, I'll just use an example of like just jumping into somebody's business. So even though I think I need to jump into my kid's business, this is the most common example I see are parents jumping into their adult children's business. So we'll just use that one. So even though I think I need to jump into my child's business, my adult child's business, I accept myself. Even though I'm worried that they're screwing it up, I accept myself. Even though I think I know better, and maybe I do, but they're not listening to me, and that's very frustrating. I accept myself. Jumping into their business, getting into my kid's business. I have no control, and I hate that. You don't have to like it. I have no control. I think I already did that one. I have no control. I don't like having no control. I think they should do better. I think they should do differently. Under your arms, under your armpits, on your sides. Getting into my kid's business. It's so frustrating for me. It's so frustrating for them. They don't want me in their business. And it doesn't seem to be changing anything anyways. There you go. Me getting in their business just causes me stress. Me in their business just causes me stress. And it affects our relationship. Yes. Maybe I'm not helping them, even if I think I am. Maybe I need to find a different way. Jumping into their business just hurts me. Jumping into their business. And then check back with yourself. When you think about jumping in their business, how do you feel? Now, doing tapping on an issue like boundaries and wanting to get involved when, maybe it's not in your best interest is not necessarily going to change it all immediately. So just know that. But doing the tapping, if you're feeling angst, if you're feeling stress about anything, tapping will help bring down the intensity. And then when your intensity is down, now your brain will work better. You'll be able to think about it. You'll be able to make a better decision about boundaries, about like, okay, my kid's doing this, and I think they should do that, and I want to get involved. So, and that'd be a good time to tap. So even though I want to get involved, even though I want to jump in to whatever my kid's about to do that I don't agree with, I accept myself. So tap on, the urge to get involved. Don't wait until you get involved and then it's all messy. Like, tap on the urge to get involved, even though I want to get involved. But part of me thinks I shouldn't. So it's a push pull, even though I want to get involved. So, the energy of I want to get involved, I want to jump in, but I know it's not going to work. Like, I have a feeling it's going to go badly. Or if you've done it before, like, like y'all are going to have an argument, you're going to fight, and like, do you really want to go through that again? No. So maybe don't jump right in. So tapping can help you not jump as quickly, not get as involved. Maybe just let it rest, let it sit for a day or two, see what happens. So those are some of my thoughts on boundaries. I'm also going to write a newsletter on boundaries because I'm just so tickled with what I found with the definition, because this is not what most people think about when they think boundaries. Boundaries are what we control. Boundaries are what we can manage. So one other quick thought. So back to the I'm not going to let you talk to me that way. That's not a boundary. A boundary, oh, my nose is itching. That means somebody's thinking of me, right? I wish my palm was itching. That means money's coming. Okay, maybe this will be money too. Okay, so back to the example of I'm not going to let you talk to me that way. That's not a boundary. A boundary is if you choose to speak to me like this, I will walk away from you. If you choose to speak to me like that, I will hang up the phone and end the conversation. If you choose to speak to me in a derogatory manner, if you choose to cuss at me, if you choose to put me down, then I will end our contact. That's a boundary because you can enforce that. The moment they begin to speak disrespectfully, you walk away. You end the conversation. You hang up the phone. You don't need to be there. That's an enforceable boundary. And the same goes with any kind of behavior. If they're engaging in behavior that you don't care for and don't wish to be around, then that's you can make a boundary. You can say if you choose to act in this way, and lay it and define it for them. Don't just say if you're rude to me, because people define rudeness differently. No, say specifically if you choose to call me names, if you choose to say this, this, and this about me, if you choose to curse at me in front of my children, then we will leave. We'll leave. Like, I'm not going to be around that. You can choose not to be around certain behavior, mostly, typically, but you can't make them stop. You can't. So don't try to pretend like, oh, you need to stop doing that. No. Well, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. All right. So practice accurate boundaries. Tap on the desire to get involved in other people's business. Stay out of other people's business. It will bring you much greater peace, much greater happiness. But it's challenging. I know it's challenging, especially with family, especially with children, especially if there are grandchildren involved. It is very hard. But most of the time, you're not doing anybody any favors if you're jumping in too much. So I hope that was helpful, and have a great day.